Greetings, salutations, and welcome to Sportslook, the sports television program for the high plains of West Texas and eastern New Mexico. I'm your host, Doc Elder, and since here on the high plains we were reminded earlier this week that it still is wintertime, we're going to focus on winter sports for this episode. We're going to have Josh Prock from Greyhound Women's Basketball. We're going to have Yos Cobas and Jose Serrano from Greyhound Men's Basketball. Ryan and Landry will take a look at a high school game for us during their high school spotlight. I'll finish up with an overtime, but as always, I'll start out with an Eastern recap. Rough introduction to coaching at Eastern New Mexico University for Riley Price, the head coach of the Greyhound baseball team, as the Greyhounds opened up the season with 3 losses to Angelo State. Of course, since Angelo State is rated in the top 10 in the nation, no disgrace there. Really good start to the season for Kira Zeider and the softball team. They won a thriller against New Mexico Highlands last Saturday, 1-0 in the first game. And I think it's pretty fair to say they probably would have won game 2 because they were up by 17 runs. But unfortunately, the game was called because of darkness before it went the required number of innings. Well, that has been your Eastern recap, so what we'll do is we'll clear the set and we'll bring in our first guest, Josh Prock from Greyhound Women's Basketball, right now. Welcome back to Sportslook, and we welcome back to the set of Sportslook the head coach of Greyhound Women's Basketball, Josh Prock. And Coach, year's been a pretty good one for Greyhound Women's Basketball.
Yeah, it has. We've had a good year, Doc. I mean, overall, it was a good week last week, and really proud of these kids, and they're really progressing well. And I think we're best yet, basketball is yet to play.
Yeah, of course, obviously, you would have been forgiven to have had a little drop-off from last year because you lost your all-world player, Trey Clay, and you lost Shelby Jones and Deja Johnson. But your ladies picked right up where that group left off.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately for Deja, her year got cut short a little bit last year. I think it helped our girls a little bit, though, everybody else had to kind of step up and play. And we knew when we lost Trey and Shelby, we knew we needed to go get some, some experience up front. And we felt like we definitely filled that void with, Natalie DeLong and Jasmine Williams have both just done a fantastic job this year.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting mixture. You brought in 2 girls that are, as the expression goes, one and done, but you brought in some newcomers, and a redshirt freshman by the name of Natalie Stice has really stepped it up this year.
It was the game before Texas International. Well, actually that game, we as coaches, we just began to discussing about, we've kind of played with the lineup a little bit, and it was just kind of Natalie's time, and we gave her the opportunity to get out there, and boy, she's made the most of it. She's played really, really well.
And it is really hard for me to remember sometimes that you're starting a point guard who's a sophomore and you're off guard a redshirt freshman, and yet they play like they're seniors.
Yeah, I have to be reminded of that too, Doc. When you're out there coaching, you got to remember that. But, I mean, you just have such a high expectation for Zam, and she has that expectation of herself, and she doesn't play like a sophomore. Really, even last year, didn't play as a freshman. So, and Natalie has, like I said, these last few games has really stepped nicely into her role and has just done a fantastic job.
Last week, of course, was a home week for you. You played on Thursday night against University of Texas Permian Basin, a team that had beaten you earlier in the season. You got a little bit of payback at home.
Yeah, I mean, we knew last time we played, unfortunately, we didn't have Olivia Lewis. And, not taking anything away, not making excuses. UTPB deserved to beat us that first time. We didn't play great basketball, and they took us out of a lot of stuff, so you got to give them credit. This time around, having Liv, and we saw some things on film that we could correct, and give our girls credit and give my assistants credit. I mean, our girls made the adjustments. Assistants, watch the film and do that kind of thing. So, at the end of the day, we performed well and were able to get the win, like you mentioned, Doc.
I'm a poor excuse for a sports guy because I don't know for a fact, but I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say that probably no Division II team has ever out-rebounded a team by 30 like you did UTPB.
When I got the final stats, I looked at that, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I mean, I knew we out-rebounded them. I mean, you could watch the game and tell that, but by that amount, but we always tell our young ladies, I said, teams, that's probably number 1 on our scouting report. Do not let them get second chance points. Okay, we're still going to get second chance points, and that's what we think. We just drive home to our girls, like, even though they're trying to block you out, don't let them. Go be relentless on the boards, and obviously the defensive boards limit teams to one and done. And I thought that was a big key this time against UTPB. If you look at the last time we played, they had several offensive rebounds, and we didn't do a good enough job there. So we really emphasized to our young ladies to limit them to one shot and let's get 2 or 3. And of course, like you mentioned, that allowed ourselves to get a plus 30 rebounding advantage.
And as well as you played against University of Texas Permian Basin, you played even better against Western New Mexico on Saturday.
Yeah, I thought Saturday was one of our more complete performances of the year. But I know we've mentioned it before, I go back to the Texas International game. In the second half there, and if you count those 2 quarters and then the Kingsville game, and you look at the Kingsville game, the UTPB game, and then this past game against Western New Mexico, which is a total of 14 quarters, I mean, Doc, we've played some really, really good basketball, and it's just kind of one on top of the other. And again, Saturday was just accumulation of all that, and I was very proud of our kids the way they played.
Coach, people don't have to take our word for it. We can actually show them evidence. We've got a spotlight reel, and so why don't we cue that up and please
Absolutely.
walk us through it.
Absolutely. Here's Olivia Lewis. She just continues to get better and better off the dribble and doing a lot of stuff. So we told our girls that they're going to go under ball screens, and Jenna does a great job there of hitting that shot. And we knew that their posts were going to play off, and Kamira there ready to shoot. So great shot by Kamira there. Natalie DeLong, I thought really, really had one of her better performances, and she's capable of making shots like that. So we're excited about that. This is a little play we run where we said 2 high ball screens there, docking for Zam, and Zam was ready to shoot, and we knew we could cause them a lot of turnovers here, and this just shows you how much confidence that Livy is having right now and being able to intercept that and go the whole way. And great catch here by Natalie, and just a great finish. Probably was a little bit of a bump and maybe an and one there, but and a great high-low look here. Just an unselfish play there by Kamira, looking for her teammate Jasmine. So just a great play there. Another great move here by Natalie. That's one of her signature moves, that shot fake, one dribble to the left. She's really good at that. That typifies the game right there. Anisha Hurst getting on the floor after that loose ball was just, I was really, really proud of our girls, the effort that they showed. And then again, Natalie DeLong just really getting after the board there. Here, just a great block by Olivia Lewis, and she's one of the better shot blockers in our conference. Great inside out here, and we always tell our guards, you're going to get your threes off at the inside game, and it was a great play there. And again, they probably not the right girl to back off of, but they did, and so good for us. We got that 3. A little steal here by Zam, so another just great job of being aware and taking advantage of the opportunity there. Another inside out. Again, we've really harped on that hard to play inside out. We feel like we have the advantages there, and we got to take another Laura Rowe just being ready to shoot. Again, we just overall just really, really focused on the game. A little bit of a late rotation there by Liv, but she's one of those kids that can probably afford to do that and get that block. And a great and one here by Jenna, drawing the contact and getting the finish. Another great job there by Jenna, getting her hands in there and getting on the break there. And there's mentioned Natalie Stice there. There's her hitting one of her 3s in this game there. Here's Taylor Hall, a young freshman that we have that I know for the next few years the fans will love watching. Really great young talent. And then Brianna Rodriguez does what she does, just all-out effort and a great finish here. So just great to see, too, the kids that maybe don't get the opportunity to play a whole lot go in there and get those production. And I'm telling you, I know you and I will look at each other 2 years from now and remember those shots that Taylor Hall hit and be like, they're becoming pretty regular because she's a very talented young lady.
Well, Coach, earlier in the season, you had one of the signature wins in the history of Greyhound women's basketball, which was a victory over Lubbock Christian, which, depending on which rating service you looked at, was either number 1 or number 2 in the nation. You get to play them at their place on Saturday.
Yeah, and it's going to be an interesting game at that point. We'll see what happens with the West Texas game. So I think they're somewhere in the neighborhood of 74, 75 straight at home. And our challenge to the girls is eventually somebody's going to beat them there, whether it be us or anybody's. But why not make the news? Why not be us? And so, our girls are motivated to do that. But obviously we have a busy week with a couple games this week. But looking forward to the Lubbock game for sure.
And of course, every game has importance. You clearly know you're going to Lone Star Conference playoffs. That's a given. But if you're one of the top 4 teams in the conference, you get to go right to Frisco. You can pass go. You can collect $200.
That's really huge, especially for a team like ours. We have some injuries. We'd love to continue to rest.
Welcome back to High School Spotlight.
I'm Ryan Schrader.
And I'm Landry Widener.
Last week, we traveled over to Clovis to catch the #1 Hobbs Lady Eagles taking on the Lady Wildcats.
It started off fairly close at the beginning, but the Hobbs Lady Eagles quickly took over.
Let's take a look at the highlights.
The Eagles will get it started off with some impressive rebounding skills. There's number 30, Anaya Heckard, who rips it away and puts it back up off the glass. Hobbs doing a good job on offense here. Their passing game causes them to collapse the defense, and they find Jemiah Clay on the left wing where she sinks it. At the end of the first, the Eagles are up by a 12-point lead.
Anthony bringing it down here for the Lady Eagles. She'll take it coast to coast on him, going through 2 defenders to make the layup.
Annabelle Martinez now pushes the ball down the court and attempts to take the shot, but she is rejected. That's Elise Cherubiates with the deflection.
Lady Wildcats with it again. This time Martinez gets it to Haley Griego at the elbow. Griego will make her way towards the basket and hit her defender with a little spin move, putting the shot up and in.
Martinez again pushing down the ball. She uses a nice step through in the lane. Even though her shot was unsuccessful, her teammates back her up, and it's Sierra Jenkins who takes the short jumper.
Anthony bringing it down for Hobbs. She finds Cherubiates in the paint. She'll sidestep her defender and put the shot in off the glass to add to the Lady Eagle lead.
Martinez on the wing now. She shows some nice ball handling with that behind the back move, and this dribble drive option finds Jenkins again for another nice jumper. The Eagles are now up by 11 at the half.
Clovis with it to start the second half. Martinez weaving her way through the defense, and she finds Hannah Nussbaumer open under the basket. She'll put it up over her defender and hit it.
Here's some nice transitioning from the Eagles, and Anaya Joseph finds Heckard up ahead, who puts up the layup.
Lady Wildcats again trying to rally here. Martinez shows some resiliency, moving through the Eagle defense, and puts the shot up off the glass and in over 2 defenders. This makes the score 42-14 heading into the fourth.
Daniela Cunha shows off her arm with this baseball pass down the court to Hannah Nussbaumer, who has a pump fake, throws off the defender, and puts it up for 2.
Lady Eagles on the other end making some quick passes. Ashley Aragon gets it and drives up the baseline. And here she either loses control or makes an awkward pass to Cherubiates, but it results in another 2 points for Hobbs.
A few passes on this Eagles offense finds Kano again for another 3 on the wing, and she's going to sink this one as well.
Lady Wildcats do a great job here of finding the open man. Talia Caldwell puts up the shot to try and ease the blow here for Clovis.
Jenkins tries to get inside, but her pass is deflected and Jasmine Alvarado comes away with it, passes ahead to Verdania Becas Buendia for the easy left-handed layup. The final score of this 30-point game is 28-58. The Eagles continuing their undefeated season.
Now starting off with 1A girls rankings, Logan remains #1, followed by district rivals Melrose and Fort Sumner.
In 2A girls, Penasco is sitting in the 1 spot at 16-2, followed by Mescalero Apache with a tie at 16-2, Wardsburg in the 3, Newcomb in the 4, and Pecos in the 5.
In 3A, Navajo Prep is still #1 with Tohatchi at #2, and then Tularosa, West Las Vegas, and Socorro.
Moving right along to 4A, Los Lunas is sitting in the 1 at 16-4, followed by Kirtland Central in the 2, Bernalillo in the 3, Gallup in the 4, and Pojoaque Valley in the 5.
And in 5A girls, Hobbs remaining undefeated makes them stay at #1, but Volcano Vista will sneak into the top 5 this week with only 2 losses.
And now moving on to the boys' side. In 1A, Melrose is sitting in the 1 spot at an impressive 17-1. Elida's in the 2 at 17-3, Maxwell's sitting in the 3 at 14 and 4, followed by Springer in the 4 and Tatum in the 5.
In 2A, three-time defending state champion Pecos sticks in that one spot with their district rivals Texaco and Santa Rosa in the 3 and 4.
In 3A boys, Robertson is sitting in the 1 at 14 and 4, followed by Bosque in the 2, Hot Springs in the 3, Sandia Prep in the 4, and St. Michael's in the 5.
In 4A, the defending state champion Valley Vikings remain on top, followed by Hope Christian, Highland, Albuquerque Academy, and Gallup.
And last but not least, we're going to go on to 5A, where Cleveland is sitting in the 1 at 17 and 2, Las Cruces is there in the 2 at 19 and 1, followed by Volcano Vista in the 3, El Dorado in the 4, and Santa Fe in the 5.
Thanks for watching High School Spotlight.
Before we throw it back to Doc, make sure you like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more updates, photos, and highlights.
Once again, I'm Ryan Schrader,
And I'm Landry Widener.
and we'll see you next week.
Welcome back to Sportslook. Thanks to Ryan and Landry for that look at Clovis and Hobb girls basketball. And now we bring to the set two guys from Greyhound men's basketball. We've got Yos Cobas, we've got Jose Serrano. Guys, welcome to Sportslook.
Thank you. Thank you. How you doing?
Yos, we'll start out with you. Where are you from, and what was the process that got you to the basketball team at Eastern?
I'm from Miami, Florida, and I played JUCO 2 years in California, and Coach Sieg saw me at a showcase, and he fell in love with me, and he decided to offer me a scholarship.
And Jose, from what I understand, you're from a little bit further south and a little bit further east than Yos.
Yes, I'm from Venezuela, and pretty much like Joe's, I also played JUCO in California, San Diego, and Coach Z was a showcase, and he was there, man. Ever since then, he texted me, he called me, he recruited me, and he got me to come here.
Well, as good as you guys are, I imagine you had a lot of colleges that were interested in getting you. Jose, what was the selling point? What convinced you that Eastern was the school you wanted to go to?
It was actually kind of sad. I tore my ACL last year, and from that point on, not a lot of schools were recruiting me, so I just had to go with whoever was going to give me the chance to play. And Coach C was there till the end, so I appreciate that from him.
And now you're proving a lot of people wrong.
Yeah.
And Yos, how about you? What was the selling point for you to get you to Eastern?
When I came on my visit, I really enjoyed it, but as soon as I get inside the gym, I just fell in love.
Yos, what's the biggest adjustment going from JUCO basketball to Division II basketball?
Just more competition, really. Every night you're going to get a good game, no matter how good or bad a team's record is.
And Jose, I'll ask you the same question. What was the biggest adjustment for you going from JUCO basketball in California to D2 basketball?
I can say it's more physical. Definitely, like Joe said, it's like the competition is high. No matter who you play, they all is good. They're very equally distributed. Like if you compare it to JUCOs in California, one time, some nights we'll get a really easy game, then the other night will be like a super hard game. Here is always very equally distributed, competition-wise.
Jose, when you got here, was there one player from the team, a returning guy from last year, that kind of took you under his wing and helped to show you the ropes about what life is like here at Eastern?
Yeah, we call him G. His name is Garrett Sherrod. He was actually here when I came on my visit, and he basically told me straight up how everything was going to be like. He told me how the coaching was going to be like, and I really appreciate that from him.
And Garrick, an amazing story in his own right. You were talking about how you tore your ACL. He survived a car wreck, and he's lucky not just to be playing basketball, he's lucky to be alive.
He definitely inspired me to, like, being more grateful to what we got and what we have at the moment, because like you said, he couldn't have made it.
And Yo, same question for you. Was it Garrick for you as well, or was there a different player that's
Yeah.
kind of helped you?
When I came on my visit, Garrick was with me as well. He just told me about everything that had to do with Portales. And he also always kept it real with me. So I respected that. And his story is crazy, so it actually motivated me.
Well, gentlemen, you had 2 games at home last week. You had a game against University of Texas Permian Basin. You got the season sweep against the Falcons. And you had a really close game against Western New Mexico. We actually had a crew out that was filming highlights, and let's cue up that spotlight and please walk it through it. There's the aforementioned Garrick Schrock.
Good shot. He's a good player. Another one.
Looking for a shot more and more.
Well, we actually told him in practice, like, you got to shoot the ball more, man. You're such a good shooter. No, he is.
A sick move, as we would say by Brandon Meadows.
Be smooth.
He is really smooth.
Darius Sawyer can sky.
Oh, he got the most bounce I've seen in real life,
Most athletic guy in the country.
in the world.
And that sequence just shows how much both teams wanted this game.
Yeah,
Great pass.
good shot.
Good court awareness by you, Jose, and
Thank
the
you.
open player.
Matthew Mazik, knockdown shooter.
Yeah, Matthew's been playing really well as of late.
And one.
Good defense there.
Good hustle, Dev.
Absolutely.
Could have dunked that.
You could have dunked that, Yos, but you
Yeah.
didn't want to show off, right? Meadows off glass.
He's like our best player all around. I think Meadows. He always grabbing rebounds.
That's the best play of the night right there.
Jose, that was the play of the night right there.
Good hustle.
Good hustle, Ibn.
Mm.
Could have been a foul, Mr. Official.
I was thinking the same thing.
Sniper.
And a good turnaround jump shot. Well, guys, obviously there have been a lot of close games like the game against Western New Mexico. If you could put your finger on one thing and say, if we had done just this one thing all season long, we'd have 4 or 5 more wins. Jose, what's the one thing that you think you guys could do a little bit better on?
I mean, we put a lot of thought into this, a lot of us and ourselves, and I came to the conclusion that just maybe more attention to detail, sharpness, like from the beginning of the game towards the end, because one little thing you do in the beginning, one little thing that you don't do in the beginning of the game can easily cost you the game at the end. And as you've seen, we've been losing games that are pretty close, 1-2 points. So I'll say sharpness and attention to detail.
Well, Yos, I'll flip the switch here and I'll say, what's the one thing that you guys have done consistently well all season long?
I mean, we've consistently rebounded, game in, game out. Sometimes we get out rebounded and it shows in the score sheet when we do. But as sometimes when we just continue to rebound, we just put ourselves in a better position to win the game. So as long as we rebound, I think we'll give ourselves a better chance to win.
Yeah, and I look back at your game against Kingsville. That was one of the few games that you've lost by double digits, and that was one of the few games where you really significantly got out-rebounded.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, this week, guys, of course, on Saturday, you're playing a Lubbock Christian team, and speaking of close ball games, that was a game that went right down to the wire. And are you going to just try and do the same game plan against Lubbock Christian and do it a little bit better, or are you going to throw a few wrinkles at the Chaps?
I think what's going to be different for these 2 upcoming games is that we are we're going to be mainly focusing on us. We're going to try to improve what we were doing wrong. I think it's definitely going to be we're going to have a different approach to the game. It's not going to be the same.
Very good. Well, Yos, you are a student athlete, so we've talked about the athletic part. Let's talk about the student part. What are you majoring in?
I'm a major in business.
What do you hope to do with your degree? Do you hope to own your own business, or do you want
Yeah.
to work for a corporation?
Well, I want to start off working for a corporation just so I can learn some stuff. But eventually, I think I'll probably have my own business, selling shoes or something, or like clothes. I haven't thought about it yet.
Would you like to go back to Miami FLA?
Definitely want to go back to Miami.
It looked pretty nice in the Super Bowl, yeah. And Jose asked you the same question. What are you majoring in here?
Oh, it's business, but I think I'm gonna focus on information systems. That's a part of business. It's mainly related to computers and numbers and stuff. And just my thought on it is like a lot of the jobs now, you need to be able to manipulate a computer, or else you probably won't get the highest payment, or So that's where I'm coming. I don't know exactly what I want to do in the future, but it's something with business for sure.
Well, gentlemen, you've had some success this year. You guys still have a good chance of going to the playoffs, and once you get to the playoffs, anything can happen. So best of luck from here on out.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
All right, well, that is going to wrap up our interview segment from Sportslook. So what we'll do is we'll clear this out, and I'll finish up with an overtime right now. Even if people on the high plains were rooting for the San Francisco 49ers, they were all pretty happy for Patrick Mahomes, the pride of Texas Tech University, who led the Kansas City Chiefs to victory in the Super Bowl that just took place. And that leads me to an interesting trivia question for you. Who was the first Texas Tech graduate to play in a Super Bowl? Correct answer, Donnie Anderson. He was a running back for the Green Bay Packers in Super Bowl I and Super Bowl II. But now for an even better question, who was the most interesting player from Texas Tech University to play in a Super Bowl? Correct answer to that question would be a guy named E.J. Holub. E.J. Holub started at linebacker in the first Super Bowl and started at center in the fourth Super Bowl, thus becoming the only player in the history of the Super Bowl to ever start 1 year on offense and 1 year on defense. And to bring my overtime full circle, the team that E.J. Holub played for was the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, that is going to wrap up in overtime, and that will wrap up an episode of Sportslook. I'd like to thank my guests. I'd like to thank Josh Prock from Greyhound Women's Basketball, Jose Serrano and Yos Kobaz from Greyhound Men's Basketball. I'd like to thank Ryan and Landry for the high school spotlight. Speaking of Landry, she was also my floor director. So for all those aforementioned people, this is Doc Elder saying, so long.
Today I don't feel like doing anything. I just wanna.
And I'm Landry Widener.
And we'll see you next week.
Don't feel like picking up my phone, so leave a message at
Yeah.
the tone. 'Cause today I